Well, hello, Jen Rulon from jenrulon.com. And I am here with one of my, not only one of my favorite athletes, one of my consistent athletes, but also one of my dearest, I consider it a dear friend, Jeff Anderegg. Jeff has been with me for, what did we figure? 2014, right? Yeah, wow. Thank you for the quick math because I don't do that well. Yeah, you've been with me from since 2014, and that was your first marathon. Your first Ironman was Ironman Wisconsin, right? But a little bit about Jeff, and Jeff, you could also introduce yourself, but you are an anesthesiologist. You've been a doctor practicing for 18 years. So what I love about Jeff is that he's got to have organization in his work, along with in his training, which is great. But the cool thing about how Jeff and I met was my junior high friend is his wife, Tamra. So Tamra Mankey was Tamra's maiden name, and I actually went to your guys' wedding, and you don't remember me, but that's okay. No, I get it. We've talked about that. So, anyways, and you have a beautiful daughter, 21 years old, Lily, and a amazing son who is Adam, who is 17, who is, I feel like, is looking up to Dad quite a bit. So, do you want to?
I now look up to him because he's a big kid.
Right. So, tell me a little bit about you. I've sort of already introduced you, but is there anything that you wanted to add? Anything with that matter?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not sure exactly what you're after, but I would have never considered myself really an athlete. I did some high school sports because it was almost like it was expected. I enjoyed them and I did okay. I mostly played football and I ran track, and I went out for wrestling my senior year just because there was empty weight classes. For 4 empty weight classes, I could basically wrestle any weight I wanted. My dad, however, was an athlete, so he really kind of pushed me into going to things. He actually wrestled in college. So not so much of an athlete, went into college and medical school and residency and just proceeded to let my health really slide. Didn't do much of anything, and which I think is somewhat normal. And by the end, I was starting to build back up and try to get into do some running and some weightlifting. And I really thought I enjoyed running, so I thought I'd just do some running and jogging and started. That's how I started. I ran a half marathon, ran several other races, and then suddenly there was a local triathlon here in my little hometown, a sprint triathlon. I knew how to swim, but I never swam a lap, never swam for speed, just swam for pleasure. And I had a bike and I knew I could run, so I figured survive the swim, try to do okay on the bike, and run like crazy. And it was difficult, but each thing was a short amount of difficulty. And I was immediately hooked and knew that that was for me. That was in 2012. So 10 years ago, I did my first sprint.
Holy cow.
And then I found another sprint, and then I found an Olympic, and that's about the time that I heard that you were coaching. And from both, everybody started to tell me the more I started to be interested in triathlon. I heard from my mother-in-law, and then Tamara said, "Oh yeah, Jen coaches triathlon, does triathlon, Ironmans." And I'm just like, well, this is fortuitous. So I gave you a call, and I think we chatted, and I'm one of those athletes where you said or where you say you don't need to run a marathon before you do an Ironman, but I felt like I had to run a marathon before I did an Ironman. Yes. Early on in the coaching, and maybe I didn't listen to you as closely as I should.
That's okay.
But we worked together, got me through my marathon, and really then started triathlon training in earnest, and it's been going ever since.
Yeah. And I did not brag, but you have done 11 Ironmans with me. That's pretty incredible. And you are coming up on number 12 in
Yes.
August. It is Ironman what?
It'll be Ironman Alaska in Juneau.
That's cool. That's cool. That will be really good. How are you feeling about it?
What's that?
How are you feeling about it? That's totally not on the question list, but that's okay.
I'm really excited about it.
Good.
I feel more excited than I did for some of the races last year. So
yeah,
I think it should be just an epic venue. And I think historically when I've done races, I've just been like uber focused on doing, the parts of the race and not paying a lot of attention to my surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
That's not entirely true. My first one, I was like I was in a parade. I noticed everything,
yes.
And I thanked everyone. And ever since then, I think I got a bit too serious about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Last year, I really noticed that it was hard for me at times to jump in and do the workouts, and I was just kind of going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
And this year doesn't seem to be that way, and
good.
I'm very excited about the race. And there's so much new technology. I can ride the course virtually,
right?
And so I can see the sights already, and it is gorgeous. Even
that's great.
When they filmed it in the winter months, it's still gorgeous. So I can't imagine what it'll look like in bloom. So
yeah, right.
Well,
good. And I should back up. So last year there was if you go to jenrulon.com on my blog, Jeff wrote an article or a blog on the 3 Ironmans he did in 2021. So yeah, it's a good article. It just really breaks down, as a coach, not ideal, but I knew exactly why he was doing what he was doing. So we could talk about that in a bit. So question number 1, what has been your favorite race and why?
I'm going to say Ironman Wisconsin. There's several reasons why. One, it was my first one, and as I mentioned before, the first time through, I really just soaked it all in and saw how all the people supported me, and was able to chat with people on the run, and it just felt like I was part of something during that race. And I've had races where I try to chat with people on the run and no one wants to talk to you.
Right.
And some of that is I'm going faster than I was, so maybe those faster people don't want to talk.
Yeah, right.
But, so yeah, I've noticed different races in different areas are really different. And so I have always been able to, I'll say, hitch my wagon onto somebody on the run that were similar speeds, and we just keep each other going. And I haven't experienced that anywhere else. And so
really,
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me, but
no,
I really noticed that at all 3 Wisconsin races.
Yeah,
I was able to find somebody, and because of it, I did better than I probably would have.
Yeah,
if I was left to just my own brain.
Yeah. I remember Ironman Wisconsin was my first one in 2002, and which is the 30-year anniversary this year? Did I do the math right?
Yes, I think so.
Right.
When was your
20
first
years? 2002.
That'll be 20 years.
20 years. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, it's lack of sleep last night. Anyways, but I remember going through, was it Minot? You're going through the one city, outside on the bike, and you feel like you're in the Tour de France. There's so many people around cheering, and they got the cowbells and the horns,
there's big,
oh my God,
long hills, and it's just lined with almost like a single row for your bicycle to go in. It does feel like the Tour de France.
I've never done the Tour de France, but like it just feels that way. And I remember that. I remember just getting so energized. I'm like, oh yeah, you got one more lap, like slow down type of thing. But yeah, no, I could, and I understand, like I totally get that about it being your first one, because I think your first one's always going to feel like the best, or like it's just, you can never get that first one back. Right. Yeah. Very cool. So you sort of briefly talked about this, but why did you choose me as your coach? Question number 2.
Well, I guess it started because of recommendations from people that I knew and cared about. And then we just seemed to click. And after that, I guess before we met, I had talked to a running coach because I was just going to do a marathon, and we didn't click the same way. I just didn't get that feeling. I felt like it, and I never saw the plan, but I felt like I was going to get a very kind of generic plan, and wanted me to do lactate testing and all this stuff. And I said, I just wanted, make sure I can be resilient enough to do the race.
Right.
I'm not going to win.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And even at one point when I was I was pulling back to write the book, I think I moved you over to Bobby. And even I was like, oh, Jeff, like, let's just come on back. Bobby was great when it came to cycling. Like, he was really good at that aspects of things. But like, I could tell, like, I'm like, no, we gotta get back into our groove. Like, definitely,
I forgot that, but it definitely wasn't the same. So
no, I know. And people are like, are you going to bring coaches on? And I'm like, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't think that's me. Like, I'm the one-on-one type of customized girl, and I do have non-customized training plans, but I even don't like offering those because it's not me behind. I mean, it is me behind it, but it's not me pushing that accountability for you guys. So yeah. Let's see. Question number 3. What have you taken away with your training and racing, and how do you apply it to everyday life?
That's a good question. I guess part of what I've taken away is to be just more resilient in general in my life, and then know that not every workout is going to go the way that you want it to go, and to be able to focus on your priorities. And I think that has extended to both my family life and my work life. And some of that could be maturity over time at work. But I feel like I'm much more go with the flow now than I used to be at work and at home. And I think most everybody appreciates that. Not that I still don't have my bad days. That happens to everybody, but
don't we all? Yeah.
All in all, so I've taken that. You frequently talk about you can't eat the entire elephant at once. You have to start with part of the elephant and you work your way through. So when I have a huge amount of work to do, I don't think about the elephant, but I think about that and I work my way through it in the best way I can. You have to take the conditions that you're given on any given day and do your best with them. And I've had some races that were where I had to just kind of go with the flow and change my plan and sometimes just totally throw the plan away and survive. Kind of like life. So
yeah. Was it Canada or Coeur d'Alene that was super hot?
I've had 2 very hot races, and I'm from northern Wisconsin, so it's not hot here.
No.
And a lot of these races are fairly early season. I think one was July, one was early July, and they were both one was mid-June, one was late June, I think. And so it hadn't heated up here yet at all.
Yeah.
So,
was that Canada and what?
Canada and Coeur d'Alene.
It was Coeur d'Alene. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I show up at both of them and it's going to be 100 degrees on race day. And I'm just like, oh my.
Yeah. And you had to adjust the sails. Like, as your coach, I had to say, like, your goals, like, they, like, they may not be happening right now. Like you might just have to get through mile by mile, like one bite at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What I discovered in those races, because I had a tough time, I got kind of nauseated and had a tough time running very quickly. So I was in the 16 hours for finishing, which I hadn't been ever before. And those people that finish at the end are the true heroes.
Agreed.
They know they're going to be out there all day, and they are out there all day. And it takes a lot of effort to do that, even though it doesn't seem like it would. It certainly does.
I completely agree. Like I remember like at Ironman Florida 2019, like across the finish line, we went up to the condo, showered, blah, blah, blah. And like people are still out there and it's like, oh my God, like that's exhausting. Like how? Like that's impressive. Like it hurt what I did. But man, like those people, like when I'm falling asleep because my day is done and I'm showered and eaten, like it's still like they're still there.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by all those folks that finish.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. All right. The drum roll question, because that's what I call it. I just made that up. In your races, were you able to cross the finish line with a smile?
I think almost every race I've crossed with a smile. Absolutely. Good. And that's
good.
Why I keep coming back. If I wasn't, I wouldn't keep doing this.
Right? It's true.
If I wasn't having fun, I absolutely would not keep doing this.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
I haven't immediately flipped off my smile as soon as I crossed.
That's
actually,
true.
No, that really hasn't really happened either. Except for one half distance, 170.3, where I just was feeling so sick. I smiled then I have a series of pictures that you may have used in the
Was that Racine?
Yeah.
No, that was Racine, yeah.
Yes. And so smile, and then just like you can see the pain after that. But as I think back about it, it was still worth smiling about. It was a good race.
Yeah. Good. And I've seen you out on the race course many times, and whether it's in Arizona or Florida or whatever, and like even though you would tell me you're like, oh my God, like especially that swim in Florida 2021, like the treadmill swim is what we could call it or whatever, but I still remember you coming out saying that just sucked, but you had a smile on your face, like you did. You're like,
I survived it.
You survived it. Yeah. And I think that was a beautiful thing to see, and I've seen you, like I said, I've seen you cross the finish line with Tamara there. I've seen you cross the finish line with Adam there. I don't think Lily's been at any of them that I've been at.
She was at Canada. No, she hasn't been to one you've been to.
Right.
She's only seen me finish once in Canada.
Okay.
She got really emotional. That was surprising.
Yeah. But I loved how the family has really come to support you. But then I think but you in return will do the same with them. Because like when I go into your training peaks, I see, Adam's got a meet, or Adam's got this, or Lily's coming home, or, we're spending time with a family. And I think you've done a really good job over the years of learning how, and I don't want to say balance, but learning just how to recognize when you need to take care of life versus taking care of triathlons.
Early on, it was hard for me to do that, to say I have to pull back this workout. I would figure out how to do it.
Yeah, you would.
And I still figure out how to do 95% of the workouts.
Yes.
Because I think you need to if you're going to commit to doing an Ironman. But I will pull back, or I'll adapt a workout that maybe was supposed to be intervals, and I'll make it recovery if my body isn't allowing it because of work, because I've been up late, perhaps, or something. And I'll know I need to do something to keep the momentum going. But know that my body just isn't gonna. I'm not going to get the same benefit out of the workout that I would have. So just let your body recover and then be ready to go.
Yeah, and you've done a really good job. I've seen that more. I've really seen it a lot this year. I think you've done a much better job. But I also think those 3 Ironmans taught you a lot. Yeah. But anyways, well, thanks for jumping on
You're welcome.
my little
My pleasure.
interview. I mean, hey, now this is the best way to get a testimony from you guys. Now I can just strip what you said and put it in my website,
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you jumping on. I am looking forward to helping you to get through Ironman Alaska, and possibly what will be next after Alaska?
Eventually, Kona as a legacy spot. That's why I'm trying to get
Exactly.
my 12 in.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm not sure how quick that's going to come. Historically,
Yeah.
It's been taking a couple of years, but we'll
Yep.
see.
Yeah. And that's why Jeff did the 3 Ironmans last year, because of the logistics and all that stuff, where we knew he would just do 1 Ironman this year. And I think that's why you're starting to, I think you're starting to be a little bit like, okay, I got this, it's, and you're enjoying it again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So very cool. All right, Jeff. Well, thank you again. And how many more weeks do we have? Oh, God.
I haven't even thought about it.
Okay, let's not.
Training Peaks will tell me.
10, 12 weeks? No. I mean, the whole month of June, July, 8.
It says 9.
9. Yeah.
It's probably 10 in reality.
Yeah, right. So, cool. All right. Well, thank you, and have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.